Building a competitive Vanguard premium deck can feel overwhelming and incredibly complex. With thousands of unique cards released since Vanguard's inception, there's always room to learn and grow as a player. To simplify this challenge, though, I'm starting with just one premium deck set and my knowledge of Standard. My goal? To rise to the top and truly understand what it takes to succeed in Vanguard's Eternal format. This isn't just nostalgia, it's climbing the competitive ladder. Welcome to the Premium Vanguard Project. Back in 2015, there was one card that felt like it ruled the shadows. Dark Dragon, Phantom Blaster, Diablo. It wasn't just a powerful stride, it defined an era of premium format. During the height of G era, Diablo was feared, respected, and let's be honest, straight up iconic. This deck was all about pressure, precision, and sacrifice. You didn't just attack, you demanded your opponent give something up, retire to, or lose. That was Diablo's message. I remember watching videos, deck lists, and always dreaming of building the Revenger deck like I said in episode 1, and Raging Form and Diablo felt like the perfect pairing, one rising again and again and the other delivering the final finishing blow. Back then, owning a deck like that wasn't possible for me. The whole deck was expensive, rare, and honestly a little intimidating. But, like I said, I never stopped thinking about it. Now, years later, I finally own Phantom Blaster Diablo. And it may not be the terror it once was, but to me, it's a symbol of everything I love about the game. High stakes mind games, dramatic power plays, and cards that told a story. This card isn't just a cardboard piece, it's a legacy for our clan. And it is for those reasons why we're going to add Phantom Blaster Diablo to our deck today. And I'm going to tell you why. So, with its ability to prevent your opponent from calling cards from hand without retiring 2 rearguards, it essentially limits your opponent into keeping that in the back of their mind and keeping them in check. I was missing this card in my deck before, especially when I was at BCS, and I feel like it would have helped out a lot. But I'm glad we have it now, thanks to James, actually, from episodes 1 and 3, having it in his binder. It also has the ability to get around Geese. Because the Xeroth Dragons can't be retired, it essentially gives you a free shot at their Vanguard, and it's something that I can't ignore heading into this format with the ban list and Geese kind of seeing an uptick in play. And with the insane history that this card has, it really wouldn't be a Shadow Paladin deck without it. But that's not the only change we're going to make to our deck today. We're going to take out one Tar-2 and throw in Bracing Angel Ladder. So I really think Bracing Angel Ladder is needed this format. It's such a good card for this deck, essentially because it prevents your opponent from touching your field. Because Denial Griffin still exists, I just think being able to get one card deeper with its ability to draw a card and its ability to prevent your rearguards from being retired and moved, which essentially shuts down any of your opponent's retire plays during your turn. I think it's a very key card for this deck, and I don't know why I wasn't playing it before, but I'm glad I have it now. And then the last change we're going to make to our deck is we're going to add in one Revenger Alpha. So Darkbond Trumpeter essentially was kind of useless in the deck. I found myself never using it because in some off-screen testing I had with this deck, opponents would really limit my Counterblast at points. Now, one Counterblast you can do a lot. One Counterblast essentially gets you 3 restands if you have a Dark Blast, but Darkbond Trumpeter kind of extended it to nothing. So I'm going to take it out for something a little bit more useful. Revenger Alfie. With its ability to rest itself and check the top 5 for a Raging Form, it's just more deck filtering. And if you don't have RFD turn 2, you can call it with the mana and use its skill to check the top 5 and try and get it that way. I think it's a very nice card to have in the deck, especially if you don't hit. It gives the 2k to something, so you can give the 2k to mana, and it would still be able to hit unboosted against most grade 2 Vanguards. But yeah, that's the changes that we made to the deck. When all is said and done, here's kind of the deck list that we're walking with now. So, with all that out of the way, let's card fight. Good luck. So today we're up against James. Instead of using the same alt model deck he used in episodes 1 and 3, he's using the Gurgwait Gold Paladin deck focused on making a field, soaring multi-attack, and wrapping up the game fast. We kick things off going first riding Rakia, which is good for later turns. However, I was missing a lot of key combo pieces to pop off on turn 3, such as an OG Raging Form and a Dark Blessed Angel to really take advantage of Wrapped to the Crest, so it's good to have the option to get the grade 1 later. Then on James's turn, he rides Liberator Yosefus and then calls double of the grade 3 Searcher to set up for his later turns. Off the skill, he grabs the grade 3 heal, which is important information to keep in mind before launching an all-out assault to take us to 3 damage on his first turn. Then on my grade 2 turn, I had to ride a mana, and realizing it's an 8k just like his rearguards, I was scared because it was the only grade 2 in my hand. However, I wanted to force James to make a decision, so I prematurely played the Riddle in my hand to try and equalize the offensive assault as much as I could. He takes the rearguard Riddle, which allows me to grab a second mana and guards the Vanguard, so he doesn't risk going to kill range so quickly, anticipating what could come on my turn 3. Now with his turn 2 on deck, he rides Agloville to continue building a rush, calling Max Slash Dragon and a Gorbaduck from hand to grab a Gurgrit grade 3 and revealing the Percival, and he discards the Din Drain. Then with his field set up, he's ready to attack. On his Vanguard drive check, he gets a Honolulu and takes us to 4 damage while clearing the Rinnle that was on the field. Realizing how behind I was, this wasn't the game to play conservative. So for the first time in a while, I actually ride straight into V-Era Raging Form and go into Force 1 to try and force the cards out of his 6-card hand while he was at 1 damage. I counterblasted 1 to go into Dark Blessed Angel and use Rakia's skill to grab Vigor Mar to grab the OG Raging Form because my second V was already in my hand to set up for the rest of the turn. I make a board and he blocks the first attack with the Honolulu we saw in his drive check. 5 cards in hand. He no guards my Vanguard and then we get no triggers. Then we go into a second V Raging Form to scale our power better with Force 1, activate the On Ride skill, and Dark Blessed Angel to refill our field. He takes our Rearguard swing and our Vanguard to go to 4 damage. Then with everything on the table, we ride the original Raging Form as a precursor to hopefully our finishing blow. Even without the 13k, the Vanguard is a 21k swing with a force marker that could go up to 41k. He guards with the front trigger we saw earlier from turn 1. And on our first check, we see a critical trigger. Now, looking at our field and knowledge of his hand, I wanted a chance to win the game, because if I gave it all to my mana, he would guard with the Heal Guardian from earlier in the game and take his overall crit from 2 to 0, and if I saw a second critical, it would only deal 1 damage because of the critical subtraction. He would take it because of the guard in his hand being so limited, but it wouldn't win us the game. So with that online, I decided to give all effects to my Vanguard. Second check. All effects Vanguard. Right after. Yeah. Let's go. That is the very first win I've recorded for myself on this channel. Across 8 games, I've never had a win on this channel. It was really cool to actually kind of get the win using some quick skill and quick mass and kind of calculated risk to kind of close out the game. There's still one more thing that I really want to take care of with this Raging Form deck before I move on to something else to completely optimize the list to where I want it to be. It's not the triggers, even though I think I do need to get the Cleric crits at some point. There's something missing in the deck that I think is necessary to at least have an explosive final turn that Raging Form sometimes can't provide. And we'll find out next episode.